My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video. Out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core to Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor or a student. Just 3 titles today. And the first one is a quote from Martha Graham's father. At least according to the documentary I watched. Martha Graham's father used to say that movement never lies. Movement never lies. And he was the kind of guy that was a forerunner to what we might consider a psychiatrist today, or somebody in the ways of the mind, but somebody saying that movement never lies. And that's a good quote. Martha Graham, founded a whole dance movement of her own, right? And so my notes say that I wanted to make that a title for Paula, just so that in case she ever watched this, after having spoken recently, I wanted to share something from the dance background that Pilates has through Martha Graham and her association with Joseph Pilates. So, number 2, principles are the sap from the tree. You know what a tree is, and the sap that comes out of the tree is something that comes out of the tree, right? Like I've often talked about ropes that are heavy, big ropes that are under the strain of, say, a ship. Extrusions that come out of a twist. Right? The stuff that comes out of to me can be referred to as principles, because a principle is indicative of something else. It's a principle of something. Well, it's a principle of Pilates. But then does that mean that Pilates is only explicable by principle? It's been convenient for that to be the case. But part of this broadcast is to help you hopefully absorb a point of view that helps you survive in terms of, if you're in the pursuit of Pilates, being aware of the 2 identifications that I've been broadcasting on for over 3 years now, 1,166 days ago, during the weekdays, just trying to broadcast these 2 identifications, saying, look, this is biomechanical and the way the body engages itself to move through space, and this is a point of view of Pilates, like any other in some ways. It's just a point of view of Pilates. And yet that point of view is based on Joe's book and seeks MMP represents a theory that there's an ideal within Joe's original work. And the only original work that's under consideration in terms of the three things from Joe's book are his definition, his promise, and his sequence. So let me go on to number 3, because number 3, if number 2 is principles are sapped from the tree, that's great to identify the principles that somehow offer a description of what is inexplicable. See? Is it explicable or not? And to some extent, maybe it never will be and never could be. All I'm doing is offering you an explanation of Joe's words that comes directly from his book rather than this book. But if that's the case, if principles are of something, and so the sap comes out of the tree, then to be the tree is number 3. How do I be the tree? How do I do Pilates? How do those principles exude from me? Or if those, see, there's the question, always. It comes back to essence. Does Pilates have an essence of its own? In being a tree has parts like the roots, the trunk, and the leaves. But the whole tree is sort of the whole, what I call it, the whole expression, right? And so being the tree is the whole expression, and the whole expression is what? Joe's definition out of his book, Complete Coordination of Body, Mind, and Spirit. MMP takes that to be being, thinking, and observing. Where thinking is the part of the brain that's called your prefrontal cortex, and observing is the part of the brain that feeds the prefrontal cortex information on what it's like out there, right? Sort of like beyond what thinking can do and does do all by itself, but the raw data from what's going on out there is coming from, this is the MMP point of view, right? The amygdala and the hippocampus areas of the brain, and it's that duality of the thinking that's going on versus the observing that's going on, of coordinating the information that's coming in to you as a human being to what you already are thinking about. That's the 3 body, mind, and spirit. Spirit has nothing to do with spirituality, because that's more intellectuality. That's more mind. And Pilates is not the coordination of body, mind, and more mind. And so in Joe stating 3 things, MMP takes those 3 things to be different in some way, and the difference primarily and most simply, you can look at it more exotically, but most simply is being, thinking, prefrontal cortex, and observing, amygdala and hippocampus, so that the coordination of those capacities within the human being are what you're after. And in the pursuit of the pattern of movement, you are expressing yourself as a tree by the pattern of performance that you make. And here's where I would want to say or suggest that Pilates is a pursuit. It's a pursuit of the state of being that I spend a lot of time talking about, but it's also a pursuit of the expression of the movement. You know, it's the movement. And for whatever the complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit is as a state of being in the body, in the moment of the doing, some of that is being fed by the pursuit of the movement, if not all of it, or they're intertwined, or they're the same thing. But it's the pursuit of the ideal expression that gives me inspiration. And so I'm tapping into my inspiration. No, I'm saying it wrong. Imagination. They're close, right? But it's in tapping into my imagination that I pursue ideal expression. So the point of number 3 in being the tree is that in doing Pilates, I would say there's a pursuit of the state of being in which you make the movements happen, and the pursuit of the expression of the ideal within the movement, within the choreography. And so within the MMP point of view, there is an ideal that you're in pursuit of. And in expressing that ideal, it's apparent, and embodiment is the ultimate authority. So know that, in summary, know that you have an aim. You're reaching, you're in pursuit of something. And that the best part about Pilates is that you're called upon to listen to your own sensation and be able to distinguish in order to go after more control. Because life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Evaluate points of view, and then add 2 and 2, right? Be a sponsor. PayPal me at Michael Miller Pilates. Bitcoin is recognize value for the karma that becomes part of. Add 2 and 2 after you've evaluated points of view. Direct your thinking. Geist.